Hey everybody, thank you for joining me on the Michael Tobin Show. I'm driving in my car right now on my way to work to my part-time job. You'll see this, my stick shift in the way once in a while. And I want to talk about Christians in poverty. Christians in poverty. And I also want to do a brief recap of a program I did live yesterday. But whenever I'm on the Spreaker board that you download to your computer, I always choose the wrong selection and I mess up the recording. But I did go live, and but I wasn't able to get to it because I kind of scrambled up the stuff, so I had to delete it so I could continue next time. But 12 people were actually able to see it live, listen to it live. But I was talking about that Milo guy, Milo Yiannopoulos. I think his last name's Yiannopoulos. It's a real cool Greek name. But for the past couple weeks, when this whole melee started at the University of California, Berkeley, with the riots and everything, they didn't want Milo to be a speaker, and from what everybody gathered who are conservatives, we were being told that it's because Milo is a gay conservative. He's very prolific, very good speaker, I'm told, and he's on the speaker circuit. So I guess he commands a high wage for showing up to universities. If you could show up to a university and give a speech, you're doing pretty good. But universities are a very, very curious animal, so to speak. There are a select few in the intellect world who have access to homework. They have access to homework, and they know things that media are not talking about. But a few days later, it turns out that Milo went on record as, you can look it up. I'm driving right now, so I don't have everything prepared right now, but just look up Milo pedophilia and try to find a decent news site that doesn't have a bunch of half-naked women on their ads and news websites that call themselves conservative. For them to have advertisements with what I say half-naked women, it's a lot of soft porn. I can't repost those things. I don't want my people looking at all those ads. And I don't know how they can call themselves conservative, but one of my points is that even though I am a supporter of Donald Trump and I supported him the whole time, 99% of the independent news media that supported Donald Trump, in my opinion, they're in it just for the money. They're filled with people who picked a cause, learned the cause, and then promoted the cause so they can have a source of income, which is media, which is internet media, basically. And but they do not have our best interest as conservatives. So, as a former news director myself from a Christian radio station from 1989 to November of 1993, I always say from 89 to 94 because it was so close. But I know how to discern what the motives are of a writer. I don't want to call them journalists because there's scarcely any journalists that we even know of. But anyhow, it was more important that Donald Trump get elected regardless of whatever it is that he says that was any type of offense. It was more important that he gets elected as president so that Hillary Clinton will not become president in order to continue what today's types of Democrats promote. So that's my opinion on Yiannopoulos. It's a shame. It's a crying shame. And it does not surprise me a bit. And he's a senior writer for Breitbart News. And as a senior writer of Breitbart News, Breitbart is arguably the most conservative news site, independent news site that there really is. So even people in Breitbart want him gone. And that's one thing that conservatives and the anarchists can actually agree with. 99% of the anarchists and the people who were marching against Trump and against Milo at that college and anything else Donald Trump, they don't know. And many of us don't even know what really lies behind the curtains until it's too late. As much reading that I do, I have not even gotten around to researching Milo. But eventually I do get to it and I share it. So y'all need to research this Milo guy and choose your allies wisely. So that's what I spent about 45 minutes on talking, also praying for the people in Northern California and everywhere south, east, and west of Oroville Dam. A lady went around a roadblock yesterday and then she ended up drowning and dying in a creek. So folks, please drive careful. Don't go around those barriers. The authorities aren't out to get you. They're not putting up roadblocks just so they could be a pain in the butt. There's reasons for those roadblocks. So let's keep California in prayer because there are communities that are being flooded. There is an evacuation yesterday. And I don't even know the names of all these towns. I'm a Southern California boy. But I've driven through many of those areas many times during my lifetime. And I remember farms. And now there are a lot of neighborhoods in the valley, what they call the Valley of California, Central California. But let's pray for America. Let's pray for California. Let's pray for peace in the world, peace in Jerusalem. So I want to get to Christians in poverty. Currently, I'm working a part-time job and I qualify for Obamacare. But the second time that I had to apply during registration process, I was denied, but offered a whole bunch of killer deals. And I'm thinking, I wish this part of the Affordable Care Act that makes it compulsory would go away, and with a cell phone, which is necessary, and I have not gotten an Obama phone, and I won't. My 30-year-old son and I are living together with the family member and paying rent, and together we've struggled to pay rent, and we're struggling even more so. And he wants to be in ministry alongside me. we want to be in ministry alongside each other with critical incident stress through the Billy Graham Rapid Response Team. You can read some information on some of my videos, and I tell you all about it. But it's gotten to the point to where I have to be a half a month late on my cell phone, my auto insurance, and I hate to say it, a credit card. But the credit card was a blessing in disguise because I lost my job that I had of 8 years. And it held me through a year, 6 months of unemployment, and then a year of the whole year actually looking for employment. I finally got hired back at Home Depot for the second time. They hired me back twice, but this time instead of full-time and at my previous wage, because of the Home Depot structure, financial structure, they had to hire me at part-time and minimum wage, and not in San Diego City minimum wage, which is $11.50. It's $10.50 in the state of California, unless any certain county or city has raised their minimum wage. So it's horrible. It's horrible, and I've been trying to find full-time work also. If full-time work comes before I get promoted to full-time, I have to take it. But in the meantime, Christians in poverty, a lot of Christians who are struggling to make ends meet, and they give to their place of worship. They give to the Lord, sincerely give to the Lord, and help others, are kind, and just be a light in a dark place, the salt of the earth. We're living right, and we're not living right so we can get a reward. We're living right because right is right and wrong is wrong. Everybody, Christian or not, you have to be kind to one another. That's number one. Treat people the way you want to be treated, and be somebody that the world can get along with. It starts with me. So I'm struggling, thinking, am I not giving enough? Am I not being good enough? And the answer is I am. I believe that my heart is in a good spot. Nobody's heart is perfect, but my heart is still in a good spot. And I want to take you back to the part of 1 Kings in Judah. God spoke to one of the prophets. I wish I had the scriptures with me, but I can't because I'm driving. God spoke to the prophet and said that you people are putting your money into bags with holes in it. You put the money in the bags, and the money is dropping out of the holes. There's no amount of money that you can save that's not going to fall out of the holes. As soon as you get it, it disappears, right? That's what we've been going through for these past 8, 10, 11, 12 years or so. It's not just because of Obama. It's not because of a president. It's because of what policies that we voted for have led us to. So we have to learn. My people perish because of lack of knowledge. We're perishing, folks, so it's time to get more knowledgeable. Time to be more in prayer. So Christians in poverty. I realized that even the prophet was in the same boat as those who he was prophesying to what God said. You're putting your money in purses with holes in them, and meanwhile you're going to your homes, and the passages there are telling them that their number one priority is their homes and their families, and that's all they care about. They make their money, they go home, everything is peachy, but there's something wrong. It's not quite right. Their money is disappearing. Why is their money disappearing? It's because God has not been blessing their labors. And even the prophet of God was in the same boat. He was the prophet who God spoke through. Even though that he was able to hear God's voice, as many today are, that doesn't mean that he was free of the lack of blessings, because it was a blessing. It was call it a curse if you like. It was a lack of blessing on the entire people. The Jews. It was on the entire people, and they had to get right with God. So, First Timothy, it says, persevere, consider the trials joy. Amen. And be and persevere. Okay. So I am praying for you, and please pray for me too, that I will continue to be able to persevere, and all the places that I call and contact, that I will start getting meaningful, gainful employment. All right, please. And at the same time, without sounding redundant, I want to say that I always make sure that I make a plea for listener support. And by the time I get this YouTube uploaded and then recorded onto the program, the Michael Tobin Show on Spreaker, I'm blessed to be part of the Fringe Radio Network. It's a lineup of different hosts, and it's really cutting edge stuff. That is a launching point, an effective launching point for my ability to go anywhere in the United States and record from anywhere and anything I choose. And my goal is to be able to respond to disasters, and I know we're still inside this group of storms, several different groups of storms in California. I'm going to be, for the fourth time, responding to my own state. I've responded in the past since 2003. I've responded to Texas, Louisiana, and Florida hurricanes, as well as 2 fires and Franklin Graham's Decision America tour, where I went to Sacramento as a chaplain. So please, I'm pleading for listener support, and there are ways that you can give, and you can go to check out the comment section and information section, and I give you ways that you can help me out. So please, I want to make a comparison between people such as myself, who are in prayer, very sincere, but unheard of. We're struggling for the ability to fulfill what God has laid on us, our gifts and our calls for support, yet we are placing people like this Milo guy, that look what it turns out if you read about him. There's a guy that he was the president of the North American Evangelical Association. I won't say his name, but he turned out to be living an illicit lifestyle with drugs and extramarital sex, and the church lifted him up as a leader. Why? Because he's got school background, college background, he knows how to talk, he knows the business of things. There are other people that I can't mention their names, and I won't, but you read about them. Because of who they are, they're being made senior pastors of mega churches and things like that, and they've got the most beautiful wives that you can imagine, or the women have the nicest husbands that you could imagine, but who knows what's going on in their lives. I can't judge them. So that's between them and the Lord. But husbands and wives in the church, because of their elevation in the church, sending novices out to battle. It doesn't matter whose grandfather my grandfather is. It doesn't matter whose dad my dad is. If I'm a novice, I'm a novice. But because of who they are and the type of training that they've done, they're being elevated. And so we've got these people that fail us from their pedestals that we put them on time and time again. And so I'm kind of comparing that to people such as myself and others that are very sincere, and we're unheard of, and we continue to be unheard of and unsupported because we're not somebody that people know who they are. But you know who we are. You guys know who I am. So please, America, let's start supporting people with the heart for God, with the proven track record, and support one another. I could probably save that for another time to do a thing on that also. But thank you guys. Appreciate your listening to the show, and know that we are in a time, just like what I mentioned from the book of 1 Kings, that our money is going into a purse with holes in it, and nothing is being blessed. And if my people will obey and humble themselves and pray, seek my face, I will heal their land. Let's do that, folks. We're already seeing a lot of good news that's happening as a result of our coming together. And things are getting better. Oh, the Affordable Health Care Plan. In a sense, Donald Trump has already repealed the affordable health care, in that he ordered the IRS to not enforce the penalties to people who are not insured. Also, people, regardless of their health care plan that people do choose, even if it does not meet the affordable health care requirements, they are also still, insurance companies are still being instructed to accept the plan that they choose anyhow. So in two major ways, the affordable health care plan is pretty much null and void. And the media doesn't know about that yet. They know about it, but they don't know what to make of it because they're so busy talking about a whole bunch of other things. So that's a good thing, right? You can do your taxes and you won't be, your tax money, your tax refund won't be garnished any longer. And you can choose whatever health care you plan. And even if you're not, a third thing, if you're not in a health care plan and something happens, people will still be able to receive health care just like before, just like it's been for many decades. So in three ways, the affordable health care plan has been abolished. So that is tremendous news. So I leave you on that good news. God bless you. Thank you for joining me, and have a wonderful day.